Hi everyone, I'm back again to do the follow-up video to the one I did about the Ghost Grappler and my thoughts on how I was going to put it together. I have finally managed to get all the parts. They're in this box down here. Tires and all the things. I'll post a link. Well, actually, I'll post a list of all the parts, so you know what the bike has on it in detail. So I'm going to start by putting the tires on. That's really what I feel is it's almost one of the physically the hardest thing, especially when it comes to Rene Hurst tires. I mean, Rene Hurst tires, I believe, are the best tires in the world. Um, of course, that's a subjective statement. I believe it. I haven't come across any better. Um, but the down they have a downside, and that is that they're incredibly difficult to mount. So I'm going to start with that. But anyway, I hope to be able to inform and entertain you. So keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to begin by mounting these tires onto these wheels. And the reason I do it is, um, well, first of all, manhandling a wheel that doesn't have a cassette or rotors on it is easier. I mean, one thing I want to try and avoid doing is, contaminating rotors with my fingerprints or all sorts of other things, or bending it in frustration. Um, so I've got a few things. I've got a saddle to go with it. Finally got a dropper post. And let's begin by trying to mount the wheels. Now, the thing that I find with these Rene Hurst, I can't mount them even though I have a compressor. Not a workshop compressor, but like a home compressor. I still can't get them to mount unless I first put in a tube. So I'm gonna put in a tube. I'm gonna mount them, put in a tube, and then let them sit overnight. Maybe use a hair dryer to, warm them up a little bit. But let's do that. Okay, so got the back tire on with the tube, and it's got a decent amount of clearance. I know a 55 wouldn't have fitted very well in there. I think the tire looks actually pretty well proportioned. Okay, now I'm not going to rest. I'm not going to feel, like the job is done until I've got the tubeless. But anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so let's start by after I've done the tires now. I'm actually being eaten alive by mosquitoes here. So, first step. Now this is a 73 millimeter button bracket spacing, and let me take this button bracket out. This is just a standard Shimano mountain bike bottom bracket. Now I need one spacer for 73 millimeters, and the spacer goes on the drive side, which is the right hand side, and it shows here how to tighten. It shows here you tighten in the counterclockwise direction. So the important thing to do is to do this by hand. Don't start tightening with a tool. Otherwise, man, you can end up with cross-threading problems. Okay, this is a bit tight. I'm going to check why it's tight. Clean out the threads a little. Now that's better. It's important to hand start. This was because it's so easy to cross thread if you don't. Okay, hand tighten all the way. Now you do the other side. The threads are so fine, which is why it's so easy to cross thread them. This is why you just have to manipulate them a few times. A little bit, you just manipulate make sure that the angle is of your bottom bracket is parallel to the frame, and make sure you don't force anything. This should screw on without any force. So if you do apply force, you're most likely going to be damaging your threads, and you might have to buy a new bottom bracket. So what I tend to do is I tighten by hand until it doesn't go anymore, and then I will go and use a tool. Okay, well, exciting times. So far, well, let's see what I've done. I've managed to get the tires installed tubeless. You can see the nice big purple tubeless valve. Surprisingly, it actually was completely painless. I mean, I did what I knew I had to do. I put in, I used the inner tube, and that made it basically easy. It basically, what the inner tube does, it basically seats or beds the tire, and then if you leave it for a day, and then you take the tube out. What you do is you just pop the tire off from one side of the rim, and what that means is the other side is still bedded or stuck on. So if you do it carefully, you obviously have to be gentle about it, so you don't do the other side, you don't pop the other side off. But anyway, when you do that, I did it, and both times I managed to get them to pop on. But what I will say is that I've got this giant pump like reservoir here. I think it takes up to 160 psi. So I use this giant control tower to pump it up to about 160 psi, and yeah, that seems to do the trick. And then I have, I use orange sealant. I put in double the required amount. I soap up the tire and the rim a little bit. So, but yeah, anyway, so happy days. I've got the 11 to 51 11-speed cassette, 160 mil rotor at the back, 180 at the front. Nice thing. Oh shit! Didn't want that to happen. That's why I had a protector. But yeah, I've got the. If you look here, you can see the lock ring is a different lock ring than one I have in the back. This lock ring is an external lock ring, and I think that's because for a 12 mil through, 15 mil through axle, the internally notched lock ring, which I have on this side. I don't know whether you can see it or not. Nah, the light is too dark. So yeah, you can't see it. But anyway, so this is an internally notched lock ring. So this baby has the internal diameter is too small for the 15 millimeter through axle. It fits on the 12 millimeter rear through axle, but not on the front. So anyway, so far, yep, I've got the crank set on. I put the pedals on. I just was too excited to see what the pedals were like. I also wanted to basically sit on the bike and see my position on it. I've got the seat in place, the Cell SMP Light 209 for some nice padding. I've got this seat post, but this is only temporary. I'm going to use a dropper post. And also, that's the race face. That's a 60 millimeter stem. I don't know whether I'm going to end up using a 50 millimeter stem or not. I might use this 50 millimeter stem. Well, let's see. Let's see what it ends up looking like. I mean, it's just 10 mils, so just for the sake of the purpleness, I might just do it. And yeah. Oh, one more thing. I couldn't find a purple bottle holder, so I found I spray painted a bottle holder purple. That's going to go on the bike as well to give me that green, black, white, and purple theme. Okay. So here I'm attaching this little thing at the end of the hydraulic brake line. I got this tool from AliExpress, and it's actually really, really good. You basically hold the hydraulic cable in this end here, and then you basically drive. You turn this and you drive it in. It works really well. Much cheaper than what you can buy.